Lamborghinis are emotive beasts. They don't make you squeal with delight, they make you tremble with glee. When you think of a Lamborghini, you think of outlandish design, noise, power, anger, and madness. This is a Lamborghini Gallardo, one of the best known and loved cars the firm has ever made. Over its 10-year lifespan from 2003 to 2013, they put over 14,000 of these things on the road. That's nearly half of all the cars it's ever produced. You got your typical Lamborghini thrills from its 5.2-litre V10 engine. It came with up to 570 horsepower, depending on which one you went for. It was also available in some cases with rear-wheel drive, otherwise all-wheel drive all the way. And as you can see, it looks best in yellow. The Gallardo was smaller than traditional Lambos. It came with normal doors and you could park it easily. It was as close to normal as you get from a firm like Lamborghini, and as the sales figures suggest, it was well received. So how do you follow that up? How do you keep things normal but maintain that Lamborghini curbside appeal? Well, if you are Lamborghini and have that problem to face, what you do is you keep the good bits that everyone loved from the old car, you give it a fresh face and a bit more power, and you call it Huracan. Named after a breed of fighting bull, the Huracan has a difficult job to do. It's got to be better than its very successful older brother and still be a Lamborghini, something that might be tricky to do. Lamborghinis are traditionally thought of as being a bit unhinged, a bit crazy, whereas everything else they're well thought of, obviously, but they go about their business with a stylish, beautiful competency. If a Lambo was a person, he'd be the kind of guy who walks into a bar with a glittery waistcoat muttering things about how you shouldn't look at him funny because he's crazy. And everyone still loves him because, well, he's a bit mad, he's a bit zany, he's a bit kooky, and then one day he'll go and stab someone in the face, and he'll have to go away for a while. But he'll be fondly remembered because of his fiery temperament and the fact he was mental, him. Ugh. It's hard not to enjoy a Lamborghini. Yes, they're outlandish and a bit silly, but they're born of an engineer who saw where things could be better. Created by a chap who came from nothing and made himself a household name because he liked the finer things in life. His name is Ferruccio Lamborghini. Lamborghini was born to grape farming parents, and he didn't really take much to the family trade, but he did rather enjoy the farming machinery associated with it. He went on to study mechanics and was drafted into the Italian Royal Air Force during World War II. When he left, he set up a garage and started modifying a Fiat Topolino. He got it to the point where he felt comfortable to enter it into the Mille Miglia. He did quite well, but after 700 miles he crashed out, and with that crash went his desire for motorsport. In 1948, the same year he attempted the Mille Miglia, Lamborghini got in the tractor manufacturing business, setting up Lamborghini Trattori. His machines were a help to post-war Italy's recovery. Later he got into oil heating and air conditioning too. These businesses set him up nicely and allowed him to buy all manner of wonderful cars. Lamborghini had a massive car collection. He ended up with more than he really knew what to do with. He had pretty much everything in there, Jags, Maseratis, you name it, but it was Ferrari that inspired him to build his own cars. See, he loved his prancing horses, but he was less keen on the ride, the interior, the after-sales, and the fact that they allegedly kept eating clutches. He addressed Enzo Ferrari with his concerns, hoping that he'd do something about it, but Ferrari being Ferrari, dismissed it. So he did what anyone would do, modified his own 250 GT so it was better than a normal one, and decided he was going to build his own Grand Tourer. And he did, the 350 GT. From there, Lamborghini's history has been littered with legends like the Miura, the Countach, the Diablo, and there's been some financial troubles along the way. Ferruccio sold his stake in the firm in the 70s and passed away in 1993. He left behind a legacy adored by people the world over. In 1998, Audi bought the company and got to work, mixing Lamborghini craziness with Audi efficiency, and it produced some stunning cars. The Murcielago, the Rebenton, the Gallardo, and now this, the Huracan.
I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. To know about you, I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro.
Its technology is advanced for a starter. It's got all-wheel drive, a carbon fibre and aluminium chassis, carbon fibre for the passenger cell and aluminium for the rest. There's a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox to rein in its 602 brake horsepower, 413 pound-foot, 5.2-litre V10. And 0 to 62 is dispatched in 3.2 seconds. Its top speed, 202 miles an hour. And it's light at 1,532 kilos. The Lamborghini Huracan LP610-4, to give it its full name, is 10% lighter and 50% stiffer than the Gallardo, and it's chock full of tech. Carbon ceramic brakes are standard, and its little TFT monitor behind the steering wheel has pretty much all the information you could possibly imagine. And to start it, you've got to flip up a little switch, like a fighter jet, or a Morgan three-wheeler. Is good. So there's tech prowess, speed, power and some stunning design on offer. Ferruccio would probably approve of the interior, and the exterior may divide opinion, but I rather like it. Some see it as restrained, but you can only really say that if your daily ride is an Aventador J, and there's only one of them, so it's almost certainly not you. So what is the latest V10 Lamborghini like to drive? Well, I'm going to start with the bits that are really annoying. There is nowhere to put anything in this car, and because it's keyless, there's nowhere to actually put the key, because I don't want to have it in my pocket, because being a Lamborghini driver, I have very tight trousers. There's a little cubby hole underneath the centre console, things fall out of that. The door pockets are tiny, but there is just enough room for a wallet, and there is a little thing in here, but it's about that deep, and it can't fit an iPhone 6 Plus in it. So that's annoying. I also can't see out of this. The rear view is wanting. I think the mirror there is purely for decoration, because you get a little nip slip of engine bay, and that's about it. The wing mirrors are big enough, but feature mostly Lamborghini bits. Reversing it is a little bit tricky. Thankfully, this has reversing camera, which is an enormously expensive option, but it's worth its weight in gold. What about the drive? Well, currently we're in the first of its 3 driving modes, Strada, Italian for street. And it's lovely. The suspension is a bit hard, the ride is a bit stiff, but it is a supercar, so you forgive it that. The steering's nice and light, nice and pliant, very lovely. Throttle response isn't the sharpest, but you can modulate it beautifully around town. I drove this around London and it was smooth, it was quiet, it was easy. But then you flip this little button down here to sport. The gearbox starts to get used to the fact it's a gearbox again. Throttle response becomes sharper, the steering waitens up and it feels a lot nicer. You get a lot more feedback through it. And then go! Whoa. Take that corner. Good God. Because of its 4-wheel drive system, the rate at which it gathers knots, it's immense. There's no sense of slip, there's no sense the car's going to try and kill you. It just wants to push you into the distance. And it does it. You push back in your seat, something chronic. The brakes, carbon ceramic is standard. My God, they work. Good Lord, they are fantastic. If you put your foot on them, the car will stop. The end. That is the thing that happens. There's no, oh, will they fade? There's no, oh, they take a bit of time to get warmed up. You can modulate them, but it takes a while to get used to it. Once you're there, though, they are a beautiful thing to work with. The steering, it's really nice. There's loads of feedback through it. In sport mode, it's decently weighted. It's a delight. You know where the front wheels are. You can feel what's going on the road. You know where to place yourself. And because the front wheel is, well, there, it's a very steep drop off at the front. It's nowhere near as long as you think it is. You can work it really nicely. Now the Huracan has a wonderfully unique launch control. It is best described as ferocious. It wrangles all of the horsepower, all 602 of them, and points them all directly at the road in order to get you from 0 to 62 in around 3 seconds. So what you do is you bring the car to a stop, you stick it in Corsa, you turn the ESC off, no ESC, foot on the brake, foot on the throttle, thrust mode, go! God almighty! Handling wise though, when you're going at sensible speeds, you can feel how stiff the chassis is, you can feel the suspension working with you to absorb all the bumps and keep the thing as level as possible. It's an absolute joy to hoon in this thing. It can't fail to put a smile on your face. With the speed, the noise, the beautiful steering, the gearbox that just works, it is brilliant. The throttle response, the brakes, when you need them to work, they really do. It's a stunning, stunning piece of engineering. There are criticisms that it's a bit too safe, that the Huracan isn't as mental as it could or even should be. I can see where they're coming from, but there's something that we need to remember here. The noise, the look and the speed is enough for some. Not everyone wants to go everywhere with their car's arse hanging out while theirs twitches. Some want a car that can be used daily and excite them at the flip of a pedal. The Huracan looks like a Lamborghini should, and it sounds like one should too. It's a very involving car. You feel definitely part of the process, but at the same time, it makes you feel safe. You're certainly part of the madness with the car, not just of the drive, but of the theatre it creates. It's the start of any road and any space it occupies.